So, hi everyone, and welcome to our a new edition and a little bit earlier than usual edition of Coding with Friends. Can you guys hear both of us? Okay, maybe you can say something, Catherine, so that people can hear you. Oops.
Hi, 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 hi.
Tell us if you heard her five, six highs.
Okay, Lawrence is yes.
Okay, perfect.
Sukaraka
So,
says yes.
hey, Ophelia. Hi, Kofi. Perfect. All right. So we'll we'll just quickly introduce. Oh, hey, Sunny. So I don't know if you guys know Sunny. She's and also Ophelia. Wonderful work in P5JS. Beautiful Bezier lion, which was showcased in P5JS showcase as well. Go check out her work, really cool. So we are just I'm going to introduce Catherine and I know each other since like just probably when the lockdown started, and we were both experimenting a bit with computation and text, and hey, acoustic wheels. uh, you can also let us know your Instagram handle so I can follow you guys, and I can share Catherine's Instagram here as well.
Some of them are my friends.
Okay, cool. I'm happy to see your friends have joined. So yeah, and tell us where you're from so we know what time zones are working for whom. Uh, and she started doing some really cool experiments with poetry in the terminal, and simultaneously Nanditi, Agat, and I were working on a small computation text festival where she was a really active participant and very inspirational. And she also then took over draft with us, and I think uh, she's a student at USC LA. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, and can you please tell us a bit more about what you're studying? Because I have no idea. I totally like in blind faith have invited you. I'm assuming it's something to do with coding, and then you can tell me which link you'd like me to open. I have opened your web link, your profile, which is the GitHub
Okay,
link.
okay. Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Catherine. I use she, her pronouns. And I am a student in this department called Media Arts and Practice. So it's nobody really knows what it is, but it's about using new technologies and new media to tell stories and um, to further social justice. Um, so this is the link that I wanted to start with. This is my portfolio. If you click into work on the top right.
Yeah, we're here.
Okay. I'm watching this stream, it's still
Okay.
behind.
Do you want
Um,
me to do a screen share with you? I don't know if that helps you.
um, no, I think that might make it
Okay.
slower.
Yeah,
As
yeah.
long as we know generally where we're at.
Okay.
Um,
Perfect. Yeah.
yeah, I just wanted to give a little preview of some of the work that I've done. Yeah. So I'm just really in creative coding, like especially in the areas of language and data. But recently, I've been exploring a lot of like poetic tech and soft tech. Like, what does it look like when you use technology for um, human connection rather than just kind of driving clicks and advertising? Um, so I've been doing some experiments around that. Um, let's go over to the second link, Creative Code Collective. At the second link that I sent. So
Yeah.
not my portfolio.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. I should remember that the stream is behind. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe just let me know when you've switched over
Yeah.
so
Okay.
that.
So I'm on creativecodecollective.github.io.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is. I actually spent. I spent all day today working on this website. This is the website for my student org, or I guess it's not a student org, but it's a collective that we have at Media Arts and Practice at USC. And it's a group of undergraduates and PhD students who are interested in creative coding. So it's not just like CS students. There's also there's people from writing, people from music, from theater, all different kinds of backgrounds who are just looking to use code as a tool in creative and critical practices. So it's based in USC, but we're open to other people joining. So do reach out if you're interested in that. And if you click on the resource hub, there's a link. So this is a concept that we're exploring with the website. It's not functional yet, but the idea is that we want to create a place for people to start exploring creative coding, because there are a lot of good resources out there, but we find that a lot of the lists that have resources are really hard. It's hard to know, like you'll look at a resource and you know what to do with it. So the idea is like you have a project-driven approach. So you have like an idea for something you want to do, and then it'll lead you to the right resource. So that's what we're working on. And then let's go to the third link, Phonemica.
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay, so this is segueing into the topic for today's Coding with Friends. So Ambika and I were talking about what we might like to do, and her interest has been in exploring creative coding in the East, especially rooted in the specific cultural context that we come from. So this is a really cool website that I like, that is a collection of dialect recordings and transcriptions from all of China. So the idea of Chinese, typically when you say Chinese, usually people are referring to Mandarin Chinese, which is the standard dialect that's used by the government, and it's the one that corresponds most to the written language. But actually, there are lots of other dialects that they can actually be considered different languages apart from Chinese, the Mandarin Chinese, because you can't, like a Mandarin Chinese and a Shanghainese speaker won't be able to understand each other. So I think this is just a really good website that shows like the variety of languages across China. Let's go now to the fourth link, a glossary of Hong Kong English.
Yeah, this is where we were kind of really tripping the other day. Okay, tell me which page to open. I'm on the PDF.
Maybe I don't have any specific pages, just like scroll through. So a little bit about my background. I am a Shanghainese speaker by heritage. Both my parents are Shanghainese, so I speak Shanghainese at home. When I went to school, I learned Mandarin Chinese, but I also live in Hong Kong, where the language is Cantonese Chinese. In addition to that, Hong Kong used to be a British colony until it was handed back to the Chinese government in 1997. So there's a long history of like British culture and English language in Hong Kong. So there's like a new language called Konglish or Kongish, which is like a merging of Hong Kong Cantonese plus Hong Kong English into its own very unique hybrid culture. So we're going to use this today as a guide for our creative coding, and we're trying to explore. My idea is that we're going to take I don't know if it's in this PDF, but in the book that I have here.
Wait, let me make you a little bigger. Now you can show it.
So there's this, you probably can't see it, but I'll just show you the page. It says name changes in Hong Kong and neighboring Asia. So this section is all about place names in Hong Kong, and how a lot of place names in Hong Kong have Chinese and English names. Sometimes the Chinese is a translation of the English is a translation of Chinese. Sometimes it's a transliteration, which means it just takes the phonetic sounds and writes it in that language. So I think that's really interesting because it's like a different way of seeing this city through the language in terms of the places. So I was thinking you could use P5 and create overlays of the Chinese and English and explore how they merge together.
Nice. That's a really cool idea. Okay.
Let's
Sorry.
get started.
Uh, I briefly went to the waiting page. Sorry about that, guys. So I'll now turn back Catherine to the glitch link. It seems to be okay. So now, like, leave it up to you. So tell me, in the post today, I had added that the Chinese version of Coding with Friends, and is that in Mandarin or was that in? Uh,
Um, uh, I should have used Cantonese, but I'm not a very confident Cantonese speaker, so
okay,
I said it in Mandarin Chinese and Shanghainese Chinese.
okay, all right. And the written bit was in.
It's in the written Chinese can be applied to most dialects of Chinese.
Okay, okay. Yeah, that's very
Okay.
different here because we typically have a ton of scripts separately based on the language. But that's interesting to know that you guys are able to use the same characters and say something totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what about Super Hacker? Are you also from Hong Kong? Oops. Okay. I've been to Hong Kong. I came there last year. That was my first trip without my child. And I was very nervous. And as it always happens, when your mom leaves, you fall sick. So my kid fell sick. But I still enjoyed the trip. It was wonderful. It was 3 days. And I really like how I could see a lot of similarities between some Indian cities where colonial buildings are very common and like that kind of culture. Although of course India became independent in 1947, which is much earlier, but the remnants of those buildings are still around. Oh, they do? Okay, I didn't know that, Ophelia. Do you want me to remove this HTML on the top while you're fixing up the page?
Sure. Yeah.
I'll do that. You go
I
ahead.
don't know. I don't know what you're showing right now, but right now I'm working on the script.js, and I'm adding in some data for the place names that I wanna play with.
Okay, I'm gonna now share the link to this project with everyone in the chat. Okay, so you're basically making smaller like sub arrays, and then each of them has the English word and the Chinese equivalent, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
I'm realizing now that actually, when I say English and Chinese, it's English and the Chinese transliteration. So it doesn't
Okay.
give the Chinese
Characters.
characters.
Yeah.
I could translate that if we want to.
No, that's okay.
Not
You
sure.
don't worry about it. I think this is fine. It'll get too late for you then.
Yeah, we'll try to wrap this up by 8:30, right?
Yeah.
Or by 5:30 your time. That's
Ha.
6 o'clock.
6. Yeah. Okay. Look at that go! You type so fast. This is a really good coding with friends. I can just sit and chill.
Okay, I think maybe we can try with this data set for now. Okay, let's see. Oh, I forgot JavaScript syntax. Okay.
So what do you primarily use when this is more of HTML, CSS, and or
It's just because this semester I'm taking 2 coding classes, and one of them is Python and one of them is C++. So it's like opposite ends of the spectrum.
yeah, as Python is like pretty simple. It's so like minimal in its syntax. Quite wonderful.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm thinking I've never coded with somebody before. I don't know how to split it up.
I don't know. You just tell me where it's going, and then I'll just fiddle around with it whenever. So you want to set it up as an in the DOM, or is it going to be within a canvas?
I think in the canvas, because my idea is that we hover over it and then it'll reveal the bottom layer.
So I'll just I've made a square canvas. I'll make it white.
Okay, perfect.
I'll make it like a little bit of a gray so that you can see it on the white background of this thingy. And then I'm going to remove the padding from this. There's a margin here. Do you have any typeface you have in mind? I could just kind of find it on Google and add that if you want.
I think we could try. There's let me type the chat. Noto CJK.
Yeah. This is the one I used for the. No, I used Noto HK for the post in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And
you want Noto HK?
Something like that.
Just
sure,
to go
yeah,
with just to go with your with the theme of the of the project. So I'll just do the whole family. That might just be easier for you, I guess. So I don't know if people are aware of this, but if you want to use Google Fonts in your P5J sketch after you've embedded the link, you only just need to add this in your text font. You don't need to make a separate variable to load the font, which I learned recently and I'm quite excited about. So it makes your work a lot easier. So I can just now add this here, which is Noto Song HK.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I haven't worked with P5 in a long time, so
Yeah.
it's cool to see you do it.
Yeah, so Ophelia, like if you're using a Google font, then you don't need to call it in the function preload, which is quite nice, and I started to use that a lot more now. In fact, Pooja was telling me quite a lot of interesting things about variable typefaces. You've used them in your Creative Code Collective project as well, I can see. So she's been of course typeface designer as long as I've been a designer myself, but she was telling me that a couple of years ago, maybe like 5, 7, 8 years ago, there were no variable fonts, and if they wanted to do an effect like that, they would have had to draw every single font by the frame, like per frame. So she said that this makes their work a lot easier, and then when they're developing typefaces as a whole set, it also helps you because you then only have to make one set of masters, which basically means that instead of making from thin to bold, I can just make the middle and then interpolate the nodes and make the thin and the hello, is that your mom? Hi. That's okay. That's fine. Yugen is always around in my stream. And so is my mom scolding both of us. So don't worry about it.
Okay, so now we have the English text in the middle of the screen in the canvas.
Okay.
see. When I was thinking, I spent a little bit of time thinking about it. I thought maybe, um, I know in processing, so that like the Java version, you can draw onto an off-screen canvas, onto an off-screen buffer, and then put that on the canvas.
Okay.
If we can do that in P5.
So you're saying that they can be like on top of each other, and then one can show on its own and one can't. Is that how you mean?
Yeah, I'm gonna check the reference to see if we can do that. Create graphics. Yeah, okay. Create graphics.
Yeah, that should work.
So create graphics says use this class if you need to draw into an off-screen graphics buffer. Sorry.
I'll also just share that on the screen as well.
Yeah, Super Hacker, she's been wearing our primary school or secondary school's sports uniforms.
It's so cute. And it's really admirable that your mom is so fit that she fits into your stuff. Pretty cool, mom.
The same size. Okay, let's see. Graphics.
So, I don't know if Super Hacker and your other friends will believe me when I say that my grandmother was Chinese. I've actually shown a picture of her in the previous sessions because she was born and brought up here. I think she was like the third generation, and she was super Indian. Like she spoke Hindi, and she wore a sari, and if somebody asked her, her passport was of course Indian. So so it was very interesting. And her name was Ottomy, which is actually an Ethiopian name, which her mom was reading some kind of a book somewhere. But of all of us cousins, there's only one of us who looks more East Asian than all of the others. All of us look very Indian, like obscenely Indian. It's always been very interesting because obviously it's hard for people to believe. And then I'm sure you don't know because it's not so much a part of your history, but we do remember that it seems that in the 60s and 70s when there was unrest between India and China, there was kind of an internment that happened here as well, where many Chinese Indians were taken to obviously Indian. Chinese Indians were taken away to an internment camp, just like it happened in the US in the 40s with the Japanese internment camps as well. Of course, fortunately, my grandmother wasn't in it. We have some interesting histories which I share with a couple of other people, but I don't know how exciting those are to our young audience. So the other thing that so it's very interesting, and they were like, they all spoke Hindi and all of that, and the music was all the music that they sang was all Bollywood of that time. So obviously because they grew up here, so very interesting kind of histories that all of us don't know about. And now we are at a place where there was a jewelry ad, Catherine on the TV day before yesterday, which has now been removed because it showed an interfaith baby shower. So can you believe how right-wing we've become? So it's quite unfortunate. Okay, so now she's insanely fast. I'll just kind of explain to you what she's done. She's made two variables called G English and G Chinese, which is, so she's got a 500 by 500 for English and a 500 by 500. So what basically Create Graphics does is that you can make, Sunny, I just use it for the Twitch stream because then two people can do it together. Typically, like when I do my own stream, then I just use the editor because that's just easier. So So what she's done is she's made two graphics. So now when you do this create graphic thing, it can be manipulated into any size. So then it's like a canvas in itself, and then you can kind of place it wherever you want to and however you want to. So now that she's called the English and the Chinese text, what she's done after that is she's done a mouse pressed function where she's going to flip between the two languages. Wow, it would have taken me
Yeah.
two days to reach this code. I'm so excited to have you here. You've done it in like 10 minutes.
No, I'm just worried about running over time, so I'm trying to go quickly.
No, it's fine. Don't worry. You don't have to there's no rush to complete. It's not an assignment. It's just a way for people to learn a bit more, and that's why I leave the code link in the chat so that people can riff off of it. So you guys, there's a thing called Remix project, so you can use that and then just use it for yourselves. I'll just reshare this link in the chat if people came in a little late. What do you use, Sunny? Do you prefer to do it in IDE? What do others prefer to do when they use P5JS? Whoosh, that was fast.
Let's see if this works. Oh, it works!
Yay! Awesome.
Okay, so this is the first
but the only
step.
thing that's not working is your text font and your text size, because you need to add G English to them as well. Yeah. I also prefer the editor because it's easy to use compared to Glitch. Glitch can be quite annoying sometimes, but it's nice because then two people can work on it together. People, identify yourself in the chat. Don't lurk. Don't be a lurker. Say hello. Tell us who you are. Okay, look at her go. So basically, because she's using create graphic, and it is always linked to a variable, as you can see when you're defining those particular text sizes and things like that, they also need to be with the graphic. So now she's done a configure, but in general you could also just write G whatever and then add it. Now so she's made a function of it, so then it can be applied to all of them. I know, right? Catherine,
oh, do you see some kind of glitch on the canvas with the text? I think something wrong with the font.
I think it could be related to pixel density, Catherine. Okay. Maybe because it seems like as if it's a bit pixelated. Is that how it's showing up for you as well? Like the render is kind of like a bit like.
Oh no.
Okay.
No, it looks okay to me right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the pixelation, probably because we're drawing into an off-screen graphics buffer and then
so we need to
using the image function.
Yeah, so we need to define the pixel density of the create graphics also. Is that what they call buffers?
Yeah, so that's what it says in the reference.
Okay. It's called off-screen graphic buffers, guys, in case. Frame buffers. Okay, so Ophelia, tell us, I know that we follow each other on Instagram, but I don't know if you're a designer or an engineer, or you're like totally this new young wave of creative technologists like Catherine here and Sunny who have their feet equally planted in both fields. Oh, sorry, go back to the code. Where are you now? Hi, Jyoti is here. She's looking at the code, but she's not saying anything in the chat.
Okay, let's try maybe the pixel density. Let's see if that works. Do you think that worked? I feel like it's not a big difference. I don't know.
Yeah,
if it
it's
works
not
with
making
this
too much of a
surroundings.
difference.
Maybe. I just increased it to 3 and it looks a little bit better.
Okay. Yeah, it does. Maybe you can make it 4 like MacBook wala. Sorry. Let me see.
I don't know what the max is. Let's try 4.
Let me just check the references.
Yeah, I don't know if that did anything, but it looks fine. Okay.
I think it looks better. It's definitely looking better. Yeah.
Okay, so we have about 20 minutes. I want to try to go to my original vision.
To make it Chinese.
No, to my idea. I feel like I should draw it out. It's like you have a magnifying glass, like your cursor is the magnifying glass,
Okay.
and then when you hover over the English word, it overlays.
So like almost like a mask of sorts.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you can do that with. I've done that with copy, and I used a sign, but that was a bit confusing. I don't know. Maybe someone has a better idea in the chat.
That sounds interesting.
So
Copy a region. Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
So
Wait. I want to try this.
so I used copy, and then I used cos and sign to make the circle.
Okay. Wow. That's so cool. Okay, I'm going to disable the mouse press and let's try to go for the copy. So
Okay, wait, let me get the reference for copy. So the way copy works for the others, I don't know who here is. I think today there are more people who know stuff about this than normally. It's more of my friends who are just putting up with me. So yeah, so copy allows you to like take any image and like define certain pixel like area that you want to like copy to another area. So typically the example here shows you an image, but because we are using create graphics which kind of works like an image, you can do that for this as well. So all of these values basically they show you the xy coordinate of the source, so upper left y and x coordinate, source width and height, then your xy coordinate of where you want the destination to be, and the destination width and height. So what I've done once is that instead of using it in a square format, I just kind of took the variable of a circle through sine and cos, and then used mouse x mouse y to move it around. So I think Catherine is trying the same thing, though I'm sure she knows of a better way to do it, which she
sorry,
may remember
I
later.
completely tuned out. I didn't hear what you were saying.
It's okay, that doesn't matter. you can concentrate on the code.
We'll see what happens. I'm just going to make this a bit more readable. So this is the source x, source y, and then width, height. And then there are a lot of arguments for this.
Yeah. Source. Do you want to do copy G Chinese or current G? Oh no, of course. Sorry. No. Go ahead.
Oh, it's the other one. Okay, hang on. Maybe this.
Yeah,
this
for maybe for the
better, like,
moment you
using-
can just try it with English and Chinese, and then
Yeah,
fix it up
yeah.
later.
Since I don't have the mouse press anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. English. And then mouse Y. So this word that this variable name that I'm using, loop. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's what they use in Photoshop, the loop tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know the
So
origin
the
of that of the tool?
It's some kind of tool that you use in real life, but I don't
Absolutely,
know.
yeah. Because earlier when they would develop film, it used to be on small contact sheets, and then you needed to choose the one that you wanted to go with eventually. So you had a little magnifier, that kind of thing to do that. So many of the tools that we use in Photoshop are actually derived from physical things that were done for photo manipulation. I learn more and more of it as time goes by.
I think
It is kind of working,
you
yeah.
see. Yeah, so it's showing parts of the letters. I'm thinking I want to try putting a background on the buffers, on the frame buffers,
Okay,
to see if that would make it more legible. What was the background you used? Oh, 250.
Oh,
okay,
nice! It's working. Very nice. Pretty cool.
Cool. Okay, let's fiddle around with some of the just the aesthetics to make it more clear. 64, and then increase the loop, and then did you say you got it to be a circle?
Yes.
You used it.
Yeah. With using sine and cos to make a circle. You know, like r into cos theta is x, and r into sine theta is y, and then you loop that across 2 pi in a for loop. Should I do it for you?
Oh, you're copying. You mean copying the individual pixels? Not copying like a region.
It was copying that region with the circular form, because here there is no way to suggest to copy to make it, you know, of any shape except for a rectangle, because it's only with height and xy coordinate. So I used it as a I used, you know how you make a bunch of circles together, like, I don't know, let me just show you what I mean. Which focus. Hold on. You'll have to see my screen on your Twitch stream, I think.
Okay, I'll wait for it to catch up.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay.
Okay. So, oops, it's later. Need to write another one. It's called the same thing.
I think now looking at the I was thinking it looks maybe too similar, the difference between the two. So be either changing a font for one of them or changing the actual Chinese characters.
Yeah, I think it would be nice if it were actual Chinese characters, because I think that would be really exciting for me, though obviously I couldn't read them. But
I don't want to get this wrong.
I'm just going to set it up here in a comment, and then you can just kind of play it out. How big is your loop now? 40. Ooh, nice.
I think it's a trade-off between the Chinese characters and the Chinese transliteration, because I like how in when it's just the English, when it's the transliteration, you can see how some of them are literal translations and some of them are just transliterations.
I have no idea because I couldn't understand them when they were in translation as well. So to me, it could be all very much the same,
Yeah, that's true.
right? So
Okay,
whatever
so
works for you, because you know, it should be
yeah,
about
I
you.
mean, I think this is more visually interesting.
No, you go with what makes sense for you. That you should dictate that.
Let's stick with this. I the last thing that I wanted to do is make it into a circle, I think.
Yeah. So this is at the end 68 to 72 is what I did with copy. Then I added that to the copy values for x, y, and then kept mouse x, mouse y, I guess the same. See at the end.
68 to 72.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are the values of the pixels on the circle.
Yeah.
And then how do we copy?
So my assumption is that mouse x, mouse y continues to be the same. And for the source and the destination, and your xy values can then kind of be based on this.
I don't know if I understand. Wait, I'm looking at the reference to see. I feel like I remember something else that we might be able to use.
Did you remove that bit of code at the bottom, or is it something on my end?
Oh, I didn't delete it. I
Oh.
thought you.
Okay. You could divide the graphics into a grid and then copy based on whether it's inside the circle or not. Maybe. I don't know. Did that work? I have no idea. I very heavily rely on the split stream, and lately I've realized that it's me learning on the stream with people adding their comments on the chats. So there you go. That's been happening like quite regularly now. So.
Pixels. I'm looking at the pixels category.
Oops. So I'll try my thing. I don't know if it'll work though.
Okay. Yeah.
You can go ahead and. Why did you make the xy values minus loop? Is it so that you could get it in the center?
Yeah. Yeah. So this is the first set of over here. Oops. This set is the top left corner. And then this is the width and height.
Okay. This didn't work at all.
Oh. Like. Okay. I'm not sure if I can find that, but do you think mouse x, mouse y, x, y, mouse x, x, y?
So exactly what you've done, but instead of adding the value just as a plain I kind of have tried to trace it with this, but there's something wrong with it, which I'm trying to find that particular piece of code. Uh, oh, I'm taking floor values. That could be it. Oh, but I didn't put the source. Oops. Something is happening. It is kind of working, but but it's super slow. It's rendering like at a very.
Not seeing it. I'll refresh. Oh, okay. Ophelia says you could divide the graphics into a grid and copy paste them in analysis. Oh, she said that a while ago.
What does that even mean, Ophelia? Can you explain it, please? But did it work for you, or it's not even working?
Oh, I think maybe I understand what Ophelia means. Maybe it's like loop through all the pixels in the buffer, and then if it's within a certain radius of the mouse, then it's a circle.
Huh.
And then copy it over. No, that might be very slow. We can try it.
Okay. But my thing is working, so I'm pleased. Although I would have never reached this place without your super quick coding. It may have taken me 2 hours even.
Oh, it's working? Wait, why is it not working for me? And thank you.
I don't know.
A few. That is strange.
Computationally very expensive. Nice terminology. I'm going to use this now in the future. I'm going to tell this to my clients.
Computationally expensive.
Client, this is computationally very expensive. Even this is actually, it's the same because copy is essentially kind of like load pixels anyway. So
is it? Oh my gosh, I don't know why it's not working for me.
It's really slow. Like you have to just hold on, let it load, and then move a little bit, and then hold on and let it load.
Oh. I think because.
Go ahead, please. Sorry.
I think because if I'm understanding it correctly, when you're looping through, what's your loop? 2 pi. Okay, so for every 0.03, so you're getting a section. You're getting a section for every 0.03, so you're redrawing the parts of the circle many times over.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be easier if there was some kind of a mask available? Let's just see if there's a mask. I remember Image used to have a mask. Let me see.
Oh, there is a mask?
I don't know, let's check.
Let's Google it. Or use another search engine. P5.js mask. Image mask. And some results. Wait, that would be if we could do a mask. Originally, I thought we'd use like, I don't know, a Hong Kong flat, and then that would be the mask.
I think I found something which is like a mask. I'll just add it in the chat. Just have a look at it.
Okay.
So I guess you could do that. So like if you do.
Oh wow!
Just you'll have to probably make a circle P5 graphic or something.
You could just I'm not sure, because I think you could make another graphics buffer, because it works functionally as an image.
Yeah.
Do you want to continue doing that, or should we wrap up the stream?
I think we may have to, because 6 is when Yugen's carer leaves, and then he sleeps a little later, which is why I do the streams a bit later. But if you want, you can come back and we can make this a bit of a bigger project, because now I know you enjoyed it. So yeah.
Well, I'm glad that we got this far, because that was the main thing that I wanted.
Yeah.
Or
or you can build this on your own. Like I just leave the links for whoever wants to, like whatever they want to do with it, because it's your project. I'm just hosting you. That's all. So
well, this was really fun.
Thank you for taking the time out. I know you've been busy with college. I know all people who have been at college have been stressed out with this online stuff. So, and the timings also, because it's US. Yeah, it's over, Juicebox. Sorry. I have to head out. It's late for Catherine as well. So you can.
When is your next coding with friends?
Next is it's every Thursday, but the guest for next time is still to be sorted out. Whether she'll come or no, I don't know yet. I won't reveal who it is. So thank you.
Thank you all for watching.
Thank you so much for joining, everybody, and all of Catherine's friends. So Sunny, Ophelia, all of you. Thanks for coming. Join next Thursday, or I don't know, Saturday. I might do something. Sorry, Juicebox was, I think, a bit early for you. He's joining in from. Yeah, Praveen. Sorry, late. That's a good emote.
Yeah, maybe next time we could try doing a little bit later. We'll see.
Yeah. Up to you, like whatever time suits you. Maybe we'll do it over the weekend, then it's easier for you. Cool. Okay, thank you. Bye, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.